Since Florentino Perez's appointment as president of Real Madrid in 2000, the club has been synonymous with the term Galacticos, the policy of bringing the best players in the world to the Santiago Bernabeu. The logic behind it is that if you have the best names, then you should have the best team. But is that actually true? And with so many juggernauts in their squad, how exactly do Real Madrid play football? At the heart of the Galacticos approach, there is a tension that exists between the collective and the individual. Do you indulge your stars in the hope that their quality will win out, or do you force them into a tactical system and risk losing some of their shine? Under Carlo Ancelotti, Real Madrid tended towards the first option, presenting his team with basic structures in and out of possession of the ball to give them the space to implement their own solutions to tactical problems. And the approach was successful. In his second stint at the club, Ancelotti won 2 La Liga titles, 2 Champions Leagues and 1 Copa del Rey. But from time to time, Ancelotti's individuals would be overcome by a team using more collective ideas, sparking questions as to whether Real should pivot to a more team-focused approach. When Ancelotti left to join the Brazil national team at the end of the 24-25 season, it appeared that the decision-makers at Madrid certainly thought so. His replacement, Xabi Alonso, was quick to emphasise the significance that collective ideas played in his understanding of football coaching. "I'm more of a positional guy," he said in an early press conference, suggesting that he wanted to use these collective structures to break down the opposition. "I want a high press and immediate ball recoveries, but above all else, my priority is control. The more my team controls the game, the more comfortable I am." Now, this concept of collective control has been clearly evident in Alonso's Real Madrid team, with varying degrees of success so far. For instance, in the 2025 Club World Cup, Alonso attempted to implement a modern out-of-possession approach, encouraging his side to press aggressively high up the pitch. But the players struggled to prevent their opponents from playing through them, and eventually succumbed with ease to a PSG team that had shed their own individualistic tendencies under Luis Enrique. Since then, though, Alonso has placed a clear emphasis on counter-pressing before dropping off into a deeper block if they don't win the ball back immediately. This has been working early in the season, but Alonso will want his team to develop a better sense of collective defending in order to maximise their chances of stopping the opposition from scoring in every phase. Since joining the club, Alonso has tried to control games with the ball, adopting a high possession approach which seeks to force the opposition deep into their own half before breaking them down. But there is a flexibility to the way that they look to accomplish this from game to game. "We don't have a fixed system that I obsess over and refuse to change," Alonso has pointed out. "We must always be dynamic and flexible and be able to adapt to different situations. So although they will look to control possession and territory, Alonso's Real Madrid will be comfortable shifting between different structures in order to achieve it. At times, for example, they may use a back 3, but in some fixtures, Alonso might decide that a back 4 suits them better. But throughout it all, the goal never changes. They have to control the ball." Now, by implementing these collective ideas, it's clear that Alonso wants to increase Madrid's chances of winning games in a sustainable manner. But this brings us back to the tension at the heart of Galacticos football. Because what happens if the system impedes the talents of the superstars who play in it? You see, there are a few areas where these sorts of questions have been raised. Most prominently, Alonso has had to try to fit Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. into the same starting 11, even though both players tend to favour dropping out onto the left channel and driving at the goal from there. In general, the solution Alonso has found has been to play Mbappe as an advanced forward and use Vinicius as the left winger, but the problem this presents is that Mbappe still tends to drop out from his position into the wide areas. Although bringing the players into closer proximity is something that worked for Real Madrid under Ancelotti, the lack of a player in the centre-forward position can mean that it's harder to pin the opposition back line, which can reduce the amount of space that Madrid are actually able to exploit. Another area that poses a potential problem is the fullback position. With Trent Alexander-Arnold joining from Liverpool this summer, Real Madrid have added one of the most creative players in the world into their squad. But as a fullback, Alexander-Arnold is expected to balance his brilliance on the ball with his work off it. For a coach like Alonso, with his emphasis on the collective aspect, this might mean that he rotates Alexander-Arnold with a more defence-focused option in games against sides who use their wingers as creative outlets. If he does, this will require him to navigate another tricky aspect of coaching a Galacticos team, man management. as he looks to limit the playing time of a quality player who will expect to be starting regularly. You see, the fundamental principle of the collective approach to football is that a good coach should make a team better than the sum of its parts. For Real Madrid, who have some of the best parts out of any team in Europe, achieving this would make them comfortably one of the best teams in the world. But it will take time. And if Xabi Alonso can't evidence the benefits of his approach quickly enough, then questions might be raised about whether Real Madrid should shift the balance back towards individual talent to really get the best out of their Galacticos. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is home to some of the world's best sports journalists, including David Ornstein, Daniel Taylor, Ollie Kay, Amy Lawrence and James Horncastle. With the latest transfer news and insight on every Premier League football story that matters, theathletic.com puts you inside football.